Thank you for tuning in to the Start Today podcast. I'm your host, Chris Cavallini, and today I'm here with my co-host, live and in person, Rick Schaff. Rick, what's happening?
Hey, everybody. Good to be here.
And sorry to cut you off there,
Thanks
bro.
for joining us all.
Yeah. And filling in for Matt, who is on vacation, a much-earned vacation, is Brain, who's an audio engineer and an all-around model American. Brain, what's up?
Man, it's a pleasure to be here. Happy to be here. Let's do it.
It's good to have you here. Rick, what's been happening?
What's been happening? I went to Cuba, discovered capitalism really works. And I'm glad to be back. I got paralyzed coming back with some kind of bacteria.
Oof.
But that's kind of over now, and
Here we are.
here we are.
Yeah.
I made it.
So obviously Memorial Day was a few days ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're aware of this, but a little tradition that we have at Nutrition Solutions, I mean, ever since this company really started to develop a culture and, build the ecosystem that it currently has, one of the things that I committed to do is basically have the team work every Memorial Day, just as a way to, honor the troops that obviously paid the ultimate sacrifice. That number is, north of 674,000 real people that obviously, met their maker fighting to give us all the freedoms and endless opportunity that we have here. So I thought that, it was only fitting for us to come in and, not just come in and check the box, but come in and just go harder than any other normal day to pay tribute to them. And, it was pretty cool because this Memorial Day, a few days ago, we actually did something that we've never done before. We actually did a workout and it was amazing. Huh. So like my personal, history with that Memorial Day is I always train on Memorial Day, and I do a very, very difficult workout. I mean, like if I'm not like feeling like I'm going to die, like it didn't count. And I told the team that, we're going to go hard on Memorial Day, and we're going to do it, with the purpose attached. We're going to do it to, honor the troops and basically just get out there and bring the pain, sweat, sacrifice. And just, like I said, man, it's just a way for us to just to begin to show and demonstrate our gratitude and so on. And it was pretty awesome, man. The turnout was phenomenal. There was more people there than I've seen out for the workouts in a while. And at the beginning of it, I basically put out to the guys and girls that were there, I was like, guys, somebody's going to die today.
It was also the hottest day of the year so far.
It was so fucking hot. And honestly, somebody said that. I'm like, good. I was like, I wish it was hotter, because that just makes it that much more uncomfortable. And
that's true.
I told them, guys, somebody's going to die today. We're not stopping until somebody dies. And obviously, that wasn't figurative. It was metaphorical, but we were going to push ourselves past our limits. And, we did about, it was like a 27-minute high intensity workout where basically we were doing like stations where, one station was running, one station was burpees, one station was push-ups, one, you know what I mean?
So brutal.
Yeah.
Awesome,
and with the weather, it was fucking awesome, man. I was so proud. I mean, I'm not like, I was dying, and I was like leading the thing. So when you're doing the workout with them and like coordinating it, that's like a whole other thing. And dude, I was fucking fired up, man.
Were they loving the grind, everybody?
So that's an interesting question. Normally, these guys, like, they understand when you work out really hard, when you're out there and it hurts and it sucks, your heart feels like it's going to beat out of its chest. They understand that that's good. That's, a lot of people are conditioned to think when you get that tired or when it's that hot, that's bad, and you stay away from it. So they get it. But I'll tell you, like, I push them harder than, I don't know that we've ever done a workout that hard. And during it, there's a couple people that were kind of, like getting to the point where they looked like they were almost like tapped out. And then, I would take note of them, and I'd go, run over there and just get in their ear a little bit and say, hey, like, we're not done yet. You keep your head up, right? If you need to rest, but we don't quit, and it's all in the mind, man. Everything
it's incredible when you get to that point where you actually really love the grind.
Yeah.
When you work with high-end athletes and they're like dying, and then you see them, like, as soon as they can catch their breath, they're like, and they're like dancing to the music, like they love the grind. It's inspiring.
Yeah, no, what was really inspiring, and I'm so proud of everybody that was there, but a couple people really stood out, like, like our new chef. This guy is awesome.
Cool.
But he's not in great shape. He doesn't come from a fitness background, but he came here to change his life. And one of the things that he committed to, working at is developing his fitness. And this guy is very mentally resilient. He's very mentally tough. So it was really interesting to see him just going and pushing, and he didn't stop the entire fucking time. And that really goes to show you that it is truly all in your mind.
Yeah, because it's really hard in the heat.
Man. And at the end of it,
I mean, especially if you're not used to that kind of grind. Like
exactly. But everybody was supporting everybody. Everybody was pushing everybody. And we went hard, and it was an amazing workout. And at the end, you know, we finished it with 2 minutes of burpees, and like as a team finished together. And, you know, after we do these workouts, normally like everybody kind of like goes and like, you know, hugs everybody and, you know, thanks each other for the workout and, you know, good job, good job. That didn't really happen. Everybody was like legitimately like, some people did that, but some people legitimately had to like go into like the bathroom and like, and it was, dude, it was fucking great. Couple guys like,
I don't know why I wasn't, I was in Miami, but
yeah,
I mean, I need to come to these things.
Yeah. Well, you filmed a couple of them.
Yeah. I do.
But it was pretty interesting because a couple people like did like die. We had a couple people like laying down on the pavement, like, you know, like looking like they just, you know, ran a marathon and whatever, and you know, just went over there and just picked them up. It's like, oh, let's take a walk down the road, and just told them to keep their head up, you know, understand whatever they're feeling right now. No. That's not bad. That's good. 10 minutes are gonna feel like fucking champion, and it was just pretty cool, man. Like it had significance attached to it. I think that the people there that did that workout and got through it, I think they all realized like they're capable of so much more than they probably thought going into it.
Yeah, that's what like
it's a big deal.
The Ironman race, like in Hawaii, is about like that. It's unbelievable. But yeah, it's infectious.
Yeah, and you know, on top of that, like any opportunity that we have to come in and put in the work when, you know, we know no other companies like in our space are putting in the work on Memorial Day, and I will take advantage of every opportunity where I know other people aren't working to come in, and I think these guys are starting to get that. If you want to,
that's a great idea. I actually like the whole spirit of that.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to go to the next level and you want to, you know, create a life that most people don't have, you have to put in the work when other people are slowing down, when other people are quitting, when other people had enough. I mean, you need to. That's when you need to go harder, and that gave us the opportunity to kind of like put that into perspective, you know, from the physical fitness side, but also how it kind of translates to every other area of life. So it's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like it.
But guys, today is going to be an awesome show because we are going to be talking about something that is very important to me, something that is very near and dear to all of us here. And that is how to eat good. Not just eat good, eat in such a way that is going to make you look, feel, and perform your absolute best. All right, guys, this without question is going to be an episode that you're going to want to take notes on. All right, because it is shocking to me how ignorant, and when I say ignorant, I mean like just unaware, the average person is as it relates to eating good and what eating good means and what it entails and what you should be eating. And it's crazy to me because I don't live in that world. But
well, I think the problem is there's so much information. There's this like tsunami of information, and everyone's saying different things. So, I mean, you're in a gym and you ask 10 people how to diet, you're going to get 10 different.
Sure.
And then the people that give you the advice are all in good shape. So it's completely confusing.
Sometimes.
But all that makes sense if you understand nutrition and how everybody's a little different.
Sometimes the people are in good shape, but other times it's just some random person, you know, in your fucking spin class or one of your coworkers who talks about something. So I think the issue is when people hear conflicting information, instead of like doing what they should do and listening to one person, they kind of like extrapolate like a piece of this person's thing and like a little bit of what this person said, and they try to make it into one thing, and it's not sustainable. They're not able to keep up with it. They don't get the results, and then they're like, oh, it doesn't work. So we're gonna break this down, guys, because eating good, again, to feel your best, perform best, to think your best, it's not that fucking complicated.
It's not rocket science.
It's not.
You know, but like I said, because of all the information out there, it gets just out of control in people's head and overwhelming.
Yep.
And then they feel like they have to contact a doctor to figure out what to cook for dinner.
God, don't even
get started on doctors either.
But even if you think about it, you have even to the level of any opinion you want to find, you'll find it on the internet.
It's true.
It only takes a few minutes, and you'll find articles that support your thinking that you want to have. Yeah. And then you don't have to change.
It's a matter of being resourceful, but the thing is, people do overthink it. They think they need to talk to a dietitian or like this person, that person. And then they think that they need this like super fucking custom, intricate, overly like quantum physic macronutrient program that is catered toward like, it's fucking insane. And it's not that, because when you get into all that, dude, it makes it super complicated. It requires way too much energy to sustainably keep up with. And it creates a situation where you are developing a painful negative association with the process, which makes it not enjoyable, which ultimately renders it unsustainable.
Yeah, and most people don't need a very complicated elite nutritional program because they're
Nowhere
not
close to being
competing
elite.
at the top 10% in the world.
Yeah.
Like they just need to eat right and be able to function throughout the day the best they can.
So guys, rest assured that today, some of you guys are listening is probably in really good shape, right? This will help you fine tune your existing program, take things to the next level. Some of you guys might be completely fucking out of shape. And again, like what we're saying here as far as the issues that people have and why people have a hard time sticking to diets and such, a lot of these things will resonate with you, but rest comfortably assured. I'm going to break it down and I'm going to make it super fucking simple. And hopefully you take what I'm saying on board. Okay. You, in turn, take action on it. Specifically what we're talking about here, not what I'm going to say here coupled with the thing that you heard from this person or this thing that, this guy that you follow on Instagram says, because we want to make things easy on ourselves with this. If we intend to keep up with this for the sustainable long term, which, what would be the point of not doing that?
Right.
We have to set this up in a way that we're going to sustainably be able to keep up with it, and it is going to be essentially effortless. All right. So guys, take notes on this episode, listen to it a couple times, because the content within will, without question, help you get to a next level. And I honestly believe you guys have, heard me say this before. I believe that becoming, a force in, your personal life, your professional life, your confidence, your self-esteem, just being in a positive mood, having the right mindset, it all begins, the foundation of that. All those items are built upon a foundation of healthy eating.
Yeah, the nutrition you put in will affect you on those levels. And that's why it's important to eat correctly, because if you don't, you'll either be drooling in a corner wanting to sleep, or you can get anxiety and depression. But the base of it all, it relies on nutrition.
Fat, sick, depressed, lacking self-esteem, confidence, all of those things. The fact of the matter is, I say this a lot when I get interviewed about nutrition. The quality of your life is directly proportional to the quality of the foods that you're putting in your mouth. All right. So guys, you have to understand why it is important to eat well. And it is evident by looking around society today that a lot of people have missed that memo. Okay. Every area of your fucking life is directly impacted in a profound way by the foods that you put in your body. Because whether you are currently aware of it or not, what you eat, what you put in your body literally has, it affects you in the same way as the people that you surround yourself with in a lot of ways. The people you surround yourself with will dictate the way you think, the way that you feel. The same can be said about the quality of food that you put in your body. Okay.
Yeah, so listen, I've said this before, but it's one of the most eye-opening things to tell people when I start working with them, is that you are literally recreated. 98% of your body is literally recreated a year from now. And it's built from whatever you put in your mouth. Mm-hmm. All right. So if you're not putting good things in your mouth, the foundation of what you're going to be made of, you don't want to be made of Doritos and
donuts, bullshit.
Beyond that, the other things that you put in your mouth, and especially regard to fat, but sugar too, they have a direct influence on how your hormones work and how the hormone cascade works. So, like you're just saying, it affects you, the way you think, anxiety levels, all these depression, all these different things.
Sex drive.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's affected by it. And people are quick to run to a doctor to get
pills,
hormone replacement treatments, right? Mm-hmm. But you can you can stop that by eating properly. You'll feel
Slow
better
down the
and
aging
function better.
process.
Yeah, all those things. Yeah, I mean, think about like if you're recreating yourself from good stuff instead of bad stuff, you're going to age pretty rapidly if it's bad stuff, right?
Guys, look, if you want to live a good life, you're going to have to eat good, and you're going to have to eat good all of the time. So it really comes down to making this a priority, making this your number one priority, and understanding that, again, where you go in life, okay, how far you go, how good that you are able to feel in the time that you get to spend on this planet, and how you look during that time, which is important, man.
Yeah, it is.
Look,
they're related.
You know, we can sit here and act like that's not important, but the fact is, it's very fucking important, because when I started to get in better shape, when I started to learn about eating good, it's like I was at a very different point in my life, but the better I looked, the better I felt. Like the more straight I stood, the more inclined I was to look people directly in the eye, the more confident I was in doing things that were extraordinarily uncomfortable, that were foreign to me, things that I wasn't sure of, but like I felt like, you know what, because I feel good, because I have this energy, because I wake up in the morning and I'm not fucking exhausted and sluggish by, 1 p.m. Because the shitty nutrients I put in my body is worn off, and now I'm, my brain is cloudy. Like I was able to feel the way that I was essentially needed to feel to fucking move my life forward. And guys, this has to be your number one priority. This needs to be more important than your family. It needs to be more important than your friends. It needs to be more important than your career. It needs to be more important than like literally anything. Okay.
Like,
and I'm not talking about eating. I'm talking about your health, which in order to have sound health, you need to eat good.
Yeah, on a plane, they tell you if something goes bad, put your oxygen mask on first, before you help someone else, right? It's the same concept.
Yeah.
You have to. That's your oxygen mask.
Yeah.
Eating good.
Because you're not going to be able to take care of your family. You're not going to be able to perform well in your career. You're not going to be able to, be a good friend to your friends if, you're in a shitty mood all the time, and you're tired all the time, and you're fucking sick. I mean, ultimately, like, if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to have people who love you, people who care about you, who are going to essentially be bullied in a position based off of the poor decisions, the choices that you have made to take care of you. They're going to have to see you, laid up in a fucking hospital bed, struggling to breathe, hooked up to all kinds of machines. And the fact is, 70% of disease is prevented via proper nutrition.
It is.
And that's not talked about enough.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest problems are dementia right now, diabetes, heart disease has always been an issue. But the new ones, dementia and diabetes, are very prevalent.
Yeah.
But for sure, when they did like studies to look at health in general, one of the biggest catalysts they found that helped promote good health was cooking your own food. And the reason was because all the food that you get that's either packaged or that are in fast food areas are full of so much sodium, MSG, sugars.
Unknown ingredients.
Yeah, they're just loaded. So it throws off the way you taste things. And then when you taste something that doesn't have all that in there, it tastes bland, right? And you have to have an adjustment period.
Exactly. So, look, guys, in order for you to actually take the information that is going to be presented to you today and be able to put it to use and be successful in, raising your existing standard as it relates to your health and fitness, and essentially looking the way you want to look, feeling the way your body was designed to feel, you're going to have to change your mindset. You're going to have to understand that what you eat is not an expense. It's an investment. It's an investment in your health. It's an investment in your future. It's an investment in your quality of life. It is an investment in how you look, feel, and perform, and the impact that you will be able to make on the time that you're on Earth. And it really bothers me that so many people miss that.
Yeah, it's actually probably the most important way to adjust your mind. Thinking that way is an investment, because we're very quick to do to invest in things that don't give us a good return. Alcohol is a huge one, right? I'll give me that big ass margarita
Or some bullshit like
with
pair of
the
shoes, or
Corona
whatever,
in it.
like-
Yeah, but you're gonna cry when you buy a good quality pack of eggs or something. You
Well,
know?
yeah, but because here's the thing, okay? When you eat like shit, and you're young, you can get away with it for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
And just like me, like on the last podcast, I talked about when I got sick, when I got really sick, but I didn't know I was sick. My body kept adjusting and I kept going.
Mm-hmm.
You are simply unaware of how bad your situation really is. Like your body is dealing with it. It can deal with it for a while. Your body is a very, very strong thing, and it deals with it internally. Outside, you might look like shit, right? You might not be happy with what you see when you look in the mirror, but you don't feel awful. You don't feel good, but you get used to feeling however you're feeling. You think, okay, this is my baseline. And I think that's why people, it's not like, you eat bad food for a day and then you like feel awful. I mean, if you eat healthy consistently and then you do that, you feel awful, but it's something that like, it's like almost like smoking cigarettes, bro. Like people smoke cigarettes for 10, 20, 30 years, like no factor. And then one day to the next, they go get a checkup and they have cancer that is spread throughout their entire lungs. It is literally comparable to that. So guys, what you have to understand is your grocery bill, the money you spend on food, the monies that you put towards the things that go into your body is not an expense. Okay. It is not a thing that you can negotiate and say, oh, well, I mean, you can go and you can, go and get the little value meal through the fast food window and such. And, you can, again, feel maybe at 40% as good as your body was designed to, or you could understand that by being mindful of the decisions you make and prioritizing your health and purchasing foods that are good for you, you're going to feel better, you're going to look better, you're going to perform better, you're going to think better, you're going to have more energy. All of those things are going to directly contribute to you moving the needle, living a better life. And ultimately, again, there's research on this. People who are in shape as a result of prioritizing the health, eating good, and working out, I think we talked about this, the link between fitness and success, they make higher incomes than equally qualified, equally experienced people who are not in shape. Yeah. There's research on this. And again, like, I know based off the way that I look and perceive in my experience that that's fucking true, man. That's not bullshit.
Agreed. I mean, you walk in a room, people see that you put work in. So
it tells the story of.
But there is something that we should mention. You can look like you're in shape and not be healthy.
Sure.
And that's a big difference. And
sure.
Some of those people, I mean, you can, if you want to lose a lot of weight and you did a bunch of cocaine, you can lose the weight. Yeah. But it's not going to put you in, that's not a good return on your investment. That's not
on my agenda for today. I wasn't going to suggest.
But I'm just saying, we need to mention that.
Yeah. So
the investment is healthy
living. You're investing in you. There's no safer of an investment with more of a substantial return than investing in yourself. Guys, here's the thing. You hear me talk all the time about the importance of personal development. You hear me tell you that is essentially what has allowed me to create the life that I have now and will move me closer to where ultimately, I'm going to be. Eating well is part of your personal development. In fact, if you're not eating well, I would make the argument that all the personal development in the world, I mean, maybe you would be able to benefit from it 30%, at the 30% capacity. Because if you're not thinking clearly, if you're not feeling well, if you don't have like fucking everlasting sustainable energy because you're putting the right fuel in your body, dude, you're not going to see the world the same way, or you're not going to interpret certain things cognitively than people whose brain and body is firing on all cylinders because they're fueling it with premium fucking rocket fuel as opposed to, some.
Very well could be the best and first investment you should make when you consider a life of investments.
1,000. I mean, yeah. There's nothing that is more important than you, because if you are not taking care of you, you won't be able to take care of anything else or anybody else.
Agreed.
All right. So look, let's talk about, obviously it starts with adjusting your mindset. What you eat is an investment, not an expense. So all this shit like, oh, I can't afford this bullshit. Figure it out. Figure it out. Because if you work, you can afford food That is not going to make you fat, sick, depressed, lacking energy, depressed, and, you know, whatever.
It's more important to look at your budget, cut out maybe the $120 pair of Jordans,
The
and
$50 at Starbucks per week.
yeah, and invest in good solid food.
Yeah.
It's a way better investment, right?
Without question, because then you'll be able to get very quickly to a point where you can buy all the Jordans and Starbucks and whatever else the shit you want, because
It's true.
100% it's true.
Right.
So some of the excuses that, you know, you hear besides people saying they don't have the money, you know, they'll say things like, you know, that's why they don't eat good. They make claims like, oh, well, you know, no matter what I do, I just can't lose these love handles. And, you know, I can't lose this weight. Like, you know, I can't afford it. Like, again, it's all bullshit. I mean, again, I realize these people say it thinking that it's true. But again, it comes down to changing your mindset, because there are people out there that have lost insane amounts of weight, and look amazing, super healthy, kept it off. So again, like, we know that there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that have made radical transformation. And most people that are probably listening to this aren't like, they would be shocked to understand and discover that by starting the process, how quickly they're going to be able to take their physique to a level that they never thought was possible. Because it doesn't take very long. I mean, if you're not like, you know, 80, 100 pounds overweight. I've seen people lose that type of weight in 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, once they make that initial change,
Yeah.
it does come quickly, and
Yeah.
then it gets harder, obviously, as you get down
Of course.
lower. But yeah, man, you can notice right away if you put the work in.
So guys, you got to stop saying things like that. You know, no matter what I do, no. Okay, maybe in the past you have failed. Maybe in the past you have fallen short. But that is the past. We don't look backwards. We look forwards. Okay. You learned what not to do. And if you really look back, if you want to look backwards, I suggest doing this. Look at what you were doing. And can you honestly look yourself in the mirror? Can you honestly and truthfully say that you did all the things that you needed to do the way you needed to do them, as consistently as you needed to do them, to get the results that you want, to lose those love handles or lose that weight that you can't ever seem to get off? Or were you just kind of, you know, did you just have your toe in? Were you only committed half of the time? Because I say this often, and I honestly mean that. If you only put in 50% of the effort, 50% of the time, you get 0% of the fucking results. Keep that in mind. Like, you can't do, you have to go all in. This has to be a priority, because if you're cutting corners here, like, when does it stop?
Yeah.
You keep lowering the standard, then eventually you're back to where you started before you were trying to eat healthy.
True.
You're either all in or you're not, guys. And understand that what you eat on the weekends, maybe you don't think it counts, but it absolutely counts. In fact, it counts a lot, because weekends, when it's all said and done, okay, weekends would have represented almost 30% of your life. So if you think that you can get somewhere by only doing what you need to do, or excuse me, not doing what you need to do 30% of the time, you are probably not super intelligent. And again, like, I think it's just something, I mean, look, it has to be said. If you honestly think that, like, how's that working out for you?
People do, though.
Because I think they're unaware, bro.
I think they are unaware too.
Yeah, I just think it's a lack of awareness, but that's why we're saying these things.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to hit them hard, and just like people are going to remember that. They're like, oh, fuck.
I mean, right. I can think of people right now that,
dude, we all can, bro.
You know, and it's sad, because they want to change, they want to do this, but the weekend comes, man. They drink
they don't.
all day, all night.
I agree.
I don't. So they say they do, and in their from their perspective and their limited level of consciousness, they believe they do, but their actions tell a different story. Do you want to expound on that?
No, I mean, I have a buddy I work with, and he will do hours, and he's running on the beach. Doesn't care how hot it is.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Man, it's just cold. It's
Like,
just
hotter
cold."
than it is in here right now, or
Yeah, it's getting there.
Wow.
And he will every time. He's always sore. He's always pushing himself. But at the same time, if I ever see him eating out, it's covered in cheese. It's covered in everything, and it's slowing his progress down.
Totally.
To where, yes, he tells me, I want to better myself in this and in this and here. But at the same time, if you're not helping yourself with your nutrition, you're really shooting yourself in the foot and holding yourself back.
Guys, so wake the fuck up, okay? Because I realize that there's none of you out there that are listening that want to be fat and out of shape and lack confidence and not have a whole lot of energy and so on and so forth. I realize that, but you have to realize that the decisions that you're making may not consistently be in line with what you're saying you want. So ensure that your actions back up the things that you want to do. And one of the other quote unquote excuses that I often hear from people who claim to, have a hard time losing weight, have a hard time getting in shape. And they say, oh, well, I don't really eat very much. Right. And first of all, that's impossible. Right. Like, you can't gain weight if you are not eating.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it's not physically or scientifically possible. So, and again, like, I don't think these people are like flat out like in denial or just lying because they're embarrassed. What I have found, because normally, if I have these conversations, I obviously will start asking follow-up questions to get a better understanding of like, what they're really doing, because that's like a big red flag.
Give me a typical day of eating.
Yeah. And normally what you will find or hear is that, people will kind of get up with no plan. Most people wake up in the morning when they don't really have any sort of regiment, and they're not really hungry, and they go like, to lunchtime, and maybe they have a little snack and they're grazing on just a little bit of this, a little bit of that throughout the day. Just, mindlessly snacking. And then what happens? The evening comes around inevitably.
Gallon ice cream out.
Insatiable hunger sets in. And, normally they're going to go to the first thing that is available, which is never the most healthy thing. And then again, at that point, they lose all like depth perception of the amount of calories they're actually putting in their body. So what they're saying, it's like, oh, I don't actually eat very much. I guess like technically that's kind of true if we're talking about frequency, like number of, right? But what I mean, the way you gain fat or lose fat is, you gain fat by taking in more calories than you're burning, period. Yeah. You lose fat by burning more calories in a 24-hour period than you're consuming, as it were. So, guys, the reason I'm pointing this out is not to bash people who make excuses. It's to make you guys aware, because I know some of you guys say this shit. You tell yourself this stuff, so you now like just condition your mind to believe that you're doing the right fucking things, and it's not happening, and that's very, very harmful, because by thinking that way, you will not ever be able to successfully see this thing through. So we have to change the perspective. We have to change that internal dialogue. And we just like overall have to be aware of where we've fallen short in the past, where we might currently be falling short, and just start taking corrective actions. Okay. Again, weekends count. Calories, no matter what time you eat them. No matter how little you eat during the day because you ate so much at night, of course you're not going to be fucking hungry most of the day. It's like a vicious cycle. So I guess the next thing that I think, is really important. People are just like, well, how do I decide how and what to eat? That's a very common question you hear from people who are trying to figure it out. And the answer to that is always going to be the same. You have to eat in a consistent manner with whatever your goals are. Simple.
True.
But it's like people miss that, right? They think oh, I want to eat like this. What do you eat? Don't worry about what I eat. Don't worry about what this guy, like, what is it that you want to do with your body? What is it that you want to do with your body? Most people, right? Most people in a perfect world, right? They want to lose all their body fat simultaneously, put on lean muscle, be whatever, whether male or female. Guys, like it's not realistic. You can't do that. You can't put on a shit ton of muscle mass and lose all your fat at the same time. Now, you can certainly lose fat and increase lean muscle, but it's a process. So when you have a primary goal of losing fat, you need to eat consistently in line with that. If you want to put on muscle, the protocol, the protocol for a 200-pound guy who's trying to gain 20 pounds of muscle for whatever reason, is going to be profoundly different than a 165-pound female that wants to lose weight. Now, they can be eating the same foods, but the portion sizes will obviously differ. So guys, figure out what your goal is, and just understand that you have to be eating consistently in line with that. I'm not going to get too deep into that. We're going to cover some more that later. But again, like one, just a couple things regarding eating consistently in line with your goals is protein intake. This is something that I hear like all the time regarding like people having this number in their mind or this stigma that they need to eat like in a crazy, insane amount of protein, and it's just not fucking true.
Yeah, protein's not a good fuel source.
It's absolutely not a good.
Your body's designed to burn sugar or fat.
Right. So
it can burn protein, but it's a
longer process. Yeah. So like, but some of these fucking Neanderthal bodybuilders and these magazines of the shit they're putting out. Like, guys, do you want to look like that? No, seriously. Do you want to look like these motherfuckers on the cover of Flex magazine and if that's what you want to look like, then do what they're saying to do.
Yeah.
If you want to like have a healthy, lean, aesthetic build, like you don't need to be eating 3-4 grams of protein per pound of body weight. How much protein do you think I eat per day, Rick?
You don't eat 2?
Well, per pound of body weight. How many grams do you think?
I don't know. Based on what you're saying,
Yeah.
a pound and a half. I mean, a gram and a half.
About 1 gram.
Yeah.
1 gram. I used to be of the school of thought that, more is better and all that.
And that's interesting because Chris obviously carries a lot of muscle. If you can't see him, he's pretty jacked.
Right. So like, and it was like one of those situations where like I was conditioned to think that I needed to eat this amount of protein.
Yeah, I was too. I grew up in that school.
Everybody was. And then when I did my first fitness competition and, I was dieting the way that I was and, my protein was cut to 4-ounce portions, I still kept a shit ton of muscle. I mean, I obviously lost some because I had to lose like 30 pounds and I was already lean, which again, you talk about like unhealthy measures. That's be a different part of a different conversation. But it was really fascinating to me because I liked the way that I looked. Yeah. And it made me realize that protein isn't actually as important as we think. We don't need as much as we think we do. And that part's important, Rick, because the difference between eating like 1 gram, 1.5 to 2, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money at the end of the week, at the end of the day, a lot of money that doesn't necessarily have to be invested in that outlet.
And I would also say that one thing I've learned over the years too is too much protein, which is what we're talking about, leads to negative issues. Mm-hmm. You're going to be healthier eating as little protein as you can based on what your needs are.
Right.
I think.
Yeah. So guys, like, let's make sure that, we're aware of that depending on what you want to do. I mean, if you're someone who wants to like put on a gratuitous amount of muscle, then yes, you will need to step your protein game up a little bit. But again, if you have enough muscle and your primary goal is just to lose fat, there really is no need to go above 1 gram per pound of body weight, because as you're dieting consistently, as you're working out, you will essentially increase lean muscle during that process anyway, while, of course, moving forward towards your goal, which would be fat loss. Another thing that, in relation to eating consistently with your goals, I hear this all the time with people that have an area of their body that they're not happy with, right? Like, whether it's their shoulders, their chest, their arms, their legs. You hear that a lot with guys. A lot with girls too, I guess, with legs. You have to understand, like, if you're trying to get something to grow, okay, you have to give it what it needs to grow, which means if, let's say you want to grow your legs, your quads, whatever, your shoulders, whatever, you have to be mindful of not only, how you train, right? You want to make sure you hit your quads, your shoulders hard and often, but you also have to consume more calories around within the meals that are around your workout. So pre-workout and post-workout, those meals, or like even if you're just taking in like some pre-workout fuel, like some oats. Sometimes I do that. Like if I really plan on getting after it, but that's not a meal. That's just like extra fuel. Right. And then post I would do like some more oats again. If I was trying to bring my quads up, this is something I did when I did bring up my quads that year. And it's like your body can only grow and build muscle if you give it the fuel in order to do it. So like if you're eating the same amount of food around every day. Normally, you're not giving your body extra calories to do what, like, that doesn't, it doesn't make sense. Like, and again, just something I think people just don't take into consideration.
No, they
so
think that the work
workouts
they put in is going to make them bigger.
yeah,
but
I mean, but this is the work that the food that you put in your body, that's the hardest work, and that's the most important work.
Yeah.
So guys, like, keep in mind, I mean, if you're having a hard time growing any body part, right? Again, eat consistently in line with your goals. Take in more calories around the workouts, those carbohydrates, little extra protein. I mean, especially the carbs. Those carbs are not going to hurt you. Those carbs are going to help you. They're going to help you. They're going to give you more fuel pre-workout, which is going to create a situation where you have more energy, you have more sustainable energy, and also after the fact, it's going to help you recover and also contribute to developing that muscle, rebuilding that muscle in a harder, stronger, more efficient manner.
Yeah.
Right?
And the carbs also help your brain.
Yeah.
And your nervous system.
Exactly. That's a whole other thing we'll get into here. And it's actually what we're about to get into now, because I wanted to get into a little bit of myth busting, right? Because there's so many of these fad diets that pop up. There's all these little bullshit stigmas out there. And I have a few that I wanted to just quickly go over before we get into like the tangibles. Hey guys, eat this, do this. This is the roadmap of success. I think the time we're spending now, I think, is really important, because we have to do everything we can to just like pull all these excuses and these like bullshit like myths that people have been led to believe or think is we got to pull this stuff out of their head and make space for this new information that is going to essentially move them forward. But there's a lot of stigmas out there, man, about what to do, what not to do, and all these little fad diets that pop up that companies spend hundreds of millions of dollars pushing to, whereas, people are talking about it, you see it online, and then in your mind, you're like, oh, well, this must be a thing because I'm seeing it all the time. I'm here. That's marketing, guys. That's what marketing is supposed to fucking do.
Yeah, man.
You also see commercials on TV for Coca-Cola, for every pizza chain. Notice that you never see a commercial for like, hey, drink more water. Or a commercial for like lean chicken breast or like fibrous green veggies. You don't see that. Like the fast food companies, they essentially have a monopoly over the commercial space. And again, that is strategic. Like, guys, they, quote unquote, they don't want us to be fit, right? So like, be aware of some of the things that you think or you've led to believe is what needs to happen and what you need to do. Like, be aware that like where that came from. And just because you heard something or you see something, that doesn't mean it's true. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
So what are some of the stigmas that we hear a lot about? I mean, we hear a lot about carbs being the equivalent, the Osama bin Laden of macronutrients.
No.
Carbs are not bad, guys.
They're not. But I mean, overconsumption of carbs.
Overconsumption of
but
anything.
Overconsumption.
Let's not even.
Exactly. Overconsumption of anything leads to issues. So if you just have the right portion
Overconsumption
size,
of water.
Yeah, it dies.
Overconsumption of anything.
Yeah.
So carbs are not bad. Carbs are essential. People are like, oh, carbs aren't essential. Bullshit. If you are someone who lives an active lifestyle and you work out and you're trying to get serious results, carbs are fucking essential. Yeah. Carbs are not essential in a situation where you live a basically maybe sedentary lifestyle where you don't move a lot, you're a little older, and you're super strict with your and surgical even with your fat intake and all that, which is a huge fucking pain in the ass. Carbs are essential to look, feel, and perform better. I fucking love carbs, and it's been a personal initiative of mine. I've written some really impactful articles throughout the course of time. For Nutrition Solutions that talked about like specifically busting up these myths surrounding carbohydrates, because so many people have this bad association. The carbs are bad. It's like, well, why are they bad? And they can't tell you that other than the fact they heard it from some random
like
fucking...
the whole keto movement. When they tell you the bad things about carbs, they're telling you about the overconsumption of carbs. That's where the issues come.
Right. They have an agenda, right? Yeah. And they're sticking to a single fragment of the carbohydrate equation. So there is some truth to that, but overall, if you want to look, feel, and perform your best and set your diet up in such a way that's simple and enjoyable, understand carbs are not the enemy. So anybody that, might be listening to this, do a little research on the benefits of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are actually amazing for fat loss because how can you expect to fuel your workouts, to have the proper energy, to push yourself hard in the gym, to burn the calories that you need to burn to create that deficit and essentially recover, build those muscles back, stronger and better if you're not fueling your body properly? You end up getting run down. You end up getting exhausted. Your muscles are fatigued all the time. Yeah. And ultimately you stop getting after it as hard because your body can't physically fucking keep up with it due to not having the fuel that it needs to get the job done.
I did keto for a month and I got pretty small and flat. I wasn't very excited about it.
Yeah. So there's, there's fad diets. Again, keto, I don't know that keto is like would that be categorized as a fad diet? Because it's kind of recirculated. It is a fad diet, right? Yeah. Look, like guys, you don't need fucking keto. And let me tell you the reason why some of you guys think that you do. Because you're looking for a shortcut. You're looking for the instant gratification, the path of least resistance. And that is a losing mentality. If you guys have listened to this podcast before, you know that the easy way is not the right way. And again, I do believe in setting our eating habits up in such a way that is as simple as possible. But the keto shit and low carbs, no carbs, dude, it's not sustainable. Okay, it makes it incredibly more difficult. And although yes, and this is I'm almost like hesitant to say this because simple-minded people will fucking hear it.
I know where you're going,
and then think that themselves to be the exception to the rule. All right, guys, look. If you want to lose a shitload of weight in a relatively short period of time and feel good about yourself for about, 3-4 weeks, and then all of a sudden violently and aggressively just start gaining it all back and then some, setting yourself up in a predicament where moving forward, if you actually ever do decide to lose weight again because you want to go on whatever, that your body now is going to fight tooth and nail and make it a lot harder for you to lose fat. If you want that for yourself, go ahead and sign up for the fucking keto diet, because that is 100% of the time, not 100%, 99.867% of the time, that's what happens. With our company, man, we don't advertise the keto diet. Of course, we want to, our mission,
which would make you a lot of money.
It would make every other company out there in the space. When keto was hot, and again, it's still hot there, that's front and center. Yeah. But again, like, I want my clients to actually have I don't want, with all the respect, like everybody who's ever supported our company and given us the opportunity, I appreciate very much. But I don't want someone representing Nutrition Solutions that has come in, used our program, did keto or like low carbs, lost a drastic amount of weight in a short period of time, nutrition, then gained it all back and then some, and is fatter and in a worse position than initially, and then basically walking around like saying that dude, that's not what I want, because not only does it not look good for us, we're failing them.
Sure.
And these guys are trained. When people call us to do keto, there's a whole little thing that they go into, and they educate them.
Good.
It's like, look, we want you to succeed. We want you to see results, and based off our experience, based off the science, based off what it is, like, the best way to do it is not through this. But everybody wants that quick fix. There is no quick. It's not.
Yeah, and keto, like, just so people that aren't old enough to understand that that was the Atkins diet in the 80s. It's just repackaged.
It's marketing.
It's a fad thing. It just comes. All this crap rolls around.
People are making money off people's disappointment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People, and again, and it's a pain in the ass too. It's hard to keep up with, because not only are you restricting yourself of foods that you enjoy, you're limiting your intake. You're also it requires a lot more like measuring and monitoring. And again, like, guys, everybody that listens to this podcast is busy. Everybody has, energy they need to put into their personal life, their family, their business, their goals, their personal development. We need to conserve as much energy as possible and be mindful of that. I mean, if your diet is taking up like a considerable amount, you're having to think about it and log macros and fucking make sure, I gotta get this little thing, I gotta measure this butter and put it, dude, come on now. Like,
agreed.
And again, like, the reason most people can't stick to a fucking diet is because of all the time that actually is involved with, shopping, prepping, cleaning, and all that bullshit. So, a couple other things. The most common one in a general sense is people's association with like in order to get super fit, in order to look the way they want to look and, essentially accomplish their fitness goals, they have to eat like super bland, like gross food
Right.
that the same fucking thing. And that, like fish and veggies and gerbil food, rabbit food, like
Right.
it's not true.
No.
It's not true. You have been conditioned to believe that from weak people who have quit. Maybe you're one of them. I mean, maybe you're one of them, and maybe that's an excuse that you've said because you went into it and did that and saw that it wasn't sustainable, which of course it's not. No human being can eat the same fucking food all the time in an evergreen situation, which means like forever, which is why you see a lot of fitness athletes, a lot of competitors. They'll get super shredded, super lean for contests, whatever. They have that goal, they have that objective. Did you go on a 3-month diet? They get absolutely peeled, but in their off season, they're fat as fuck.
Yeah.
And it's a disgrace. I mean, to me, that's not inspiring. That's not the right example to set as a fitness influencer. That's not the message that we want to send to people. Like, oh, hey, let's get in shape 3 months out of the year and just fucking high five each other. And then we'll be depressed and stressed out. And we're looking down at our gut and then looking at our Instagram photos from months ago and the contrast. That fucks with your head.
Sure. I mean, that's the reality, though, of the way it's kind of always been.
But again, it doesn't have to be.
No,
It doesn't have to.
it doesn't have to be.
So again, like, you don't have to eat the same things. I mean, again, like, our menus with our company, I mean, like every week you're going to see, I mean, there's always like just fun shit, bison mac and cheese, protein pizza. Like we do like these Chipotle, like bison burritos. There's just all kinds of different shit that you would not necessarily, if you were someone who is simply uninformed, you wouldn't think that those are items that would be consistent with a diet. And you would be right, because what we do, it's not a diet. It's a lifestyle. It's like your diet. It's not a diet. Like it's part of your lifestyle, which means it has to be something that is effortless, something that you just do and that you can do without having to put a shitload of effort and suffer, and you have to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to that.
And the good thing about, like Nutrition Solutions, one of the good things about it is that it gives you those cheat foods, but they're actually
Cleaned up.
using really good ingredients. They're figuring out how do you make it taste like they want it to when remove all the bad things and add better things.
And it's possible.
And it is possible.
It's possible. You
It's
just
awesome.
have to have a skill set, right? Like we have,
Exactly.
chefs here from all different walks,
Yeah.
cumulative, hundreds of years of experience.
And I think a lot of them get surprised too.
Of course, well, because they're
like, wow, that actually tastes good.
Right.
Like they're shocked by it. Like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, but this is what they do. Like, if you're a normal person and you're just like trying to fire up some proteins and whatever, and then you can't get it to taste good without adding a gratuitous amount of shit to it.
Most
like,
chefs are classically trained French,
right?
Trained, yeah. So.
Yeah, but like normal people, like they don't have that skill set, and like so, yeah. If you're trying to cook food on your own without like doing any research or like getting any sort of like education on how to make the food that you're prepping not just be healthy but actually taste good, like, yeah, you're probably going to fall short. You're going to have a hard time staying consistent. So do some research. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff online that will teach you these things. Or like, listen, if you're not a client of our company, order from our company one time. Legitimately, order from our company one time. Look at some of the portion sizes. Look at like how the meat is prepared, and or if you're not, like, call our company, send an email. The client relations team would be happy to give you some pointers and insight. We actually have how to meal prep on a budget guides that we send to all of our clients once they discontinue use of our service, because we want them to stay on it. Guys, if you're listening to this podcast and you're someone who wants to meal prep on your own, or whatever the case is, hit up the team at Nutrition Solutions. You can get the information off the website and ask for the how to meal prep on a budget guide. They'll send you that, and you could put that to use.
Yeah,
that's interesting, because at the same time you're just another person that's giving like food advice of what to eat and what not to eat, but at the same time you're taking a hit out of that, because you're saying, you don't have to buy my product. Yeah. Just try it. Like, I'm investing in you because I want to see you do better. It's nothing to do with making money.
And I appreciate you saying that. And that legitimately, nothing is more important to me. I mean, I have dedicated my life to helping other people raise their standards and get to the next level, right? I have figured out some things, and I have a responsibility because of, I call it maybe a penance I have to make with my reckless past, some of the second chances that I've been given, just the life that like I've been privileged to create for myself. Like I have to pay it forward because that is what I feel has to be done. And it also makes me feel good. It's like, this has nothing to do like with the big sales pitch. Like if you want to like live a good life, you have to eat good. You will never be able to reach half of your true potential and what you are capable of if you're not eating well. So yeah, like our client relations team, I mean, they legitimately, because of my beliefs, because of like personally how I see the world and what I represent, yeah, they'll take calls from anybody. I mean, if you're using another meal prep company, our client relations team, they're all dual certified by NASM, fitness and nutrition specialist and weight loss specialist. They're taking calls all the time from people who aren't using our program, but they're giving them advice, giving them help, giving them support. Help people is a core value here. And like, we don't just, talk the talk, we walk the walk, because it's just that important. And if more people ate good, dude, the world would look so fucking different, bro. And I'm not talking about from a physical
based
standpoint.
on the things we're talking about. Yeah, absolutely.
The entire world, bro, like would be so different. There would be a lot less negativity. The world, it would be cleaner. It would be a much more beautiful place. People would treat each other better. It's just a fact.
I mean, they would treat animals more humanely because we'd eat less of them, so they could actually treat them better.
The instances of success would be like people that are like, success, like whatever you define success as, that rate would go up significantly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, depression, all those things would be affected incredibly.
Massively.
Yeah.
Oh, big pharma would probably be put out of business.
They'd hate
That's
us.
a whole other fucking...
I'll never let that happen. Mm-hmm. But you should not let that stand in your way.
All right, guys. We're going to get into the meat and potatoes of this here, metaphorically speaking. In order for you to make this happen, okay, in order for you to make this transition, right, like, in your mind, with your plan, there's two things that need to be present in order for you to successfully see this through, accomplish your goals, and just live a fucking amazing life, look better naked, feel the way you're supposed to feel, and just operate at peak performance. You have to make this your number one priority. You cannot do anything unless you actually put the proper amount of focus and energy into it. You're not just going to wake up one day and be in shape. You're not going to keep doing what you've been doing and all of a sudden just start noticing the fat just peeling off of you. Okay? It doesn't work like that. In order to make any sort of change, it has to be a priority. It has to be your focus. It has to be in your mind, and you have to set your actions up in such a way where you are prioritizing that course of action. The second thing is your program needs to be simple. It needs to be as simple as possible to where you don't have to put a gratuitous amount of energy, time, stress, hassle. You have to make things simple. And consistency obviously is extraordinarily important with this. Consistency is important with anything. I believe that most people have such a hard time staying consistent with any sort of, I think it's something crazy, like 95% of people who start a diet actually like don't successfully see it through. No. And it's because they set it up where they make it so fucking difficult on themselves. Or they're trying to do like cut all carbohydrates out, or they're trying to like do this intermittent fasting where like I'm going to fast. Dude, it goes simple. On and on. Simple, right? You got to keep it simple, because if you don't keep it simple, it's going to be more and more to keep up with, because life is going to happen. This is going to pop up. This new responsibility is going to be added to your plate. So like if, that happens and you're constantly like having to scramble to figure out, I got to eat this, I got to cook and you got to be prepared. You got to keep it simple. Schedule your meals ahead of time. Take a Sunday and cook up a bunch of food, right? Use a meal prep company. I mean, that like literally, I'm not going to shamelessly plug this company. There's a million fucking companies out there that are, I don't say do what we do, but there are a million meal prep companies out there. Try a meal prep company out and just see how much better you feel, not only by eating good, but by eating good in such a way where you're not having to take the time to go grocery shopping. You're not having to think about like what to eat, how to cook it, clean up all the dishes after the fact. And you know that what you're getting, as long as you eat it, you're going to get the fucking results you want. Like whatever it takes, but you have to, I mean, if you're not able to do it on your own, you gotta figure something out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, have your mom prepare you meals, have your, like, I don't understand why more people don't do that are like married and like have like a wife or girlfriend, or vice versa. Like maybe you're a girl and you have
because everybody's working now,
dude, but
that's the other problem, right?
Well, fuck, man, it's a priority. Like, you know, if you want your, like,
listen, if I worked all week and I had Sunday, I'm not going to spend my whole day cooking.
I get it, bro.
I
Dude,
mean,
trust
there's no
me.
way in hell.
I get it. I get it, but you have to do something. I mean, you
gotta get a meal prep
make
company.
time. You either make time.
I mean, if you're busy, that's the answer. That's the solution, right? Otherwise, you got to learn how to cook and do all these things. All that stuff's an art form, right? So if someone can do it for you and make your life so much easier, talk about investments. Oh my God, we're talking about the investment of like good food and what it does for you. The investment of time. Oh my gosh, how much time are you saving? It's insane.
Energy that you like, you know, you have what you need going in the day, and it's obviously we've seen a lot of success because this is a real need. It solves a real problem for people.
Yeah.
But regardless, guys, if you're not in a situation where, you know, you can necessarily afford a meal prep company, or you just like to cook on your own, you like, don't use, oh, I like to cook on my own as an excuse, but you're only cooking like 30% of the fucking time.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Make this a priority. Make it your number one priority. Carve out time every Wednesday at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. You're meal prepping. Okay. That time, that is for that and nothing but that. It's on the planner. It's on your schedule. What gets scheduled gets done, and just make it fucking happen. And of course, make it simple. We're going to dive into that right now as far as exactly how you can do that, because a lot of you guys, oh, what's simple? You still don't know. I haven't really told you what to do. But we're about to dive into that now. All right, so what I believe the pillars of a successful, sustainable nutrition program entail are several things, okay? You got to eat healthy food. You have to be mindful of your portions, better known as portion control, right? You have to be mindful of your meal timing, okay? Like how many meals you're eating a day, the time in between meals. That is a very underrated part of the obligatory, nutrition equation. You have to incorporate variety into your diet. You have to be eating different things. You have to be eating foods that you actually enjoy, because if you're not mentally gratified by the food that you're having to put in your mouth every single day, do you honestly think that you're going to be able to keep up with that?
And it also gives you like a whole variety of fiber, which is incredibly important for your gut bacteria, as well as helping you go to the bathroom. But vitamins, you know, and your minerals, like all that variety is what helps your body. If you eat the same thing over and over again, you're not getting it. It's not going to help you.
So, and it also, it helps your mind, because you're not going to go insane, because no matter how good something is, no matter how, like, you know, whatever your favorite food is, favorite dessert, whatever, if you eat it every day, it loses its value.
Sure.
It gets to a point where it doesn't taste as good. So, again, the
Sounds
key
like
to
marriage.
sustainability with a diet, without question, is variety and mental gratification. And guys, the thing, you know, the pillars of successful, sustainable nutrition program, you can eat healthy foods. You can make sure they're portioned properly, eat timing, you know, have that on point. Variety, mental gratification, have that box checked. But if you're not staying consistent, none of it matters, because you will constantly fall short. You will constantly feel disappointed. You will get discouraged, and you will ultimately throw your hands up and just be like, fuck it, and think that, you know, no matter what you do, it's not happening, and then go back to your old shitty way of taking care of your body and shuttling things into your mouth and your system that don't belong there. Blame it on something that it is not, when consistency, that is what produces dividends, okay? You have to be consistent. Yep. Consistent, I mean, I don't know if this is the literal definition, but consistent means all of the fucking time till the end of time. I mean, to me, that is my definition of consistency.
Yeah, the people that we know in the fitness industry that have incredible longevity, that's all about consistency.
That's it.
They don't miss a meal. They don't miss a workout. They don't stop.
It's not optional.
Yeah.
So we're gonna let's get into each thing here. Eating healthy foods. I'm gonna elaborate a little on what some things that you should eat, and then some things that you shouldn't, but that you probably do.
Hey,
because
wait, meal timing though. Let's mention
well,
that.
that's the third. That's the
You gonna
third
come
one.
back? Okay.
Yeah, I'm
cool.
going to get into
All
that.
right.
So, proteins. To give you a little insight into my diet, I enjoy eating ground meats. Okay, like instead of having like a turkey breast or a chicken breast, because I'm normally like pretty active and mobile, and I eat like pretty quickly when it's time to eat. Because I eat several times a day, so I don't necessarily have the time to like cut up the stuff, whatever. I mean, if I go out to dinner, that's a different story. But I eat a lot of ground turkey and a lot of ground chicken, bison, ground beef, guys. Protein, like any type of chicken, turkey, lean steak, bison, lean steak. I mean, ribeye is not lean. I mean, if you see fat on it, that means it's not consistently in line with what you're looking to accomplish. So, lean proteins. Fish. I don't eat a lot of fish unless I'm eating sushi. I don't like cooked fish, just that weird texture and smell thing. But again, some good options for fish. I mean, Rick, what are some good healthy options for fish? White fish.
Well, you got to get
and then-
wild caught first
Yep.
of all, because if it's farm raised, it's pretty screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
But flounder's good. Like I like a white flaky fish is pretty good. Roughy's great. That's a little bit
orange
heavier.
That was the one I was trying to think
Yeah,
of.
flounder. What's that other one that everyone thinks it's a dolphin, but it's not? Mahi mahi.
Mahi.
That's a great one.
Yeah, guys. So any white fish, high in protein, low in calories. Again, like, don't overcomplicate it. Okay, any of these things, but ensure it is not just one of these things. Don't, if you're meal prepping on your own, or you're trying to do this on your own, that is completely fine. But don't go into it saying, "Oh well, I really love chicken breast, dude." That narrative is gonna fucking change by day 4 when you've ate nothing but like chicken breast, and then you're just physically just sick, and your body, your mind is just saying no, like no, can't do it. You got to give me some more shit. So, guys, take what I'm saying here and make sure you have a minimum of 3 different sources of protein in your diet. Obviously, egg whites are good. Regular eggs are good too, as long as you're getting, like a proper egg.
Yeah.
And not, if you're making your eggs your own, don't like throw a half a stick of butter in there with it, right? Yeah. Be mindful. Obviously, egg whites are a cleaner option. But again, if you were going to, have some scrambled eggs and then, hold the carbohydrates, that would be sufficient, being that you have, the protein and fat that you're getting from your normal eggs.
Yeah.
A good rule of thumb is not to go too high in fats and carbs in the same meal. You can have a little of both in there, but you don't want to have a high fat, high carb meal that doesn't support the
you won't metabolize it, and then that will lead to weight gain either way.
Exactly. It doesn't support the process. Mm-hmm. Some of the carbohydrates that I use and that you guys should be using as well, I eat a lot of rice, different kinds of rice. I mean, there's jasmine, basmati, white. I don't eat brown rice. A lot of people think brown rice is like what you need to eat and that it's the healthiest thing. And the interesting thing is brown rice, like nutritionally, like when you like match it up with white rice, the only thing that is superior about it is its fiber content. And if you're like consuming brown rice for fiber content, like you're kind of fucked up, right? So like, again, like, and it doesn't taste very good. So guys, any kind of rice, basmati, jasmine, white rice,
quinoa, just because there's a lot of different grains.
So many different kinds. Sweet potatoes. There's a million different ways you can do that. Sweet potato fries, baked potatoes. Some of the other carbohydrates that I use, I like pastas. I like whole wheat pastas. Mm-hmm. I like angel hair pasta. And again, like when I'm eating pastas, I am, of course, being mindful of my portion sizes, which we're going to get into that. And I'm not flooding it with, a third of a bottle of the spaghetti sauce, right? So these are all like kind of common sense things that might not be common sense to some people that are listening to this. So I want to put this out there. What are some other good oats? Oatmeal. I eat a lot of oatmeal, a lot of oats, because it's easy, it's quick. You can mix your protein in it, like you get you're on the go, or you just want something.
And fruits, like I'll put banana in it, like more carbs.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get to fruits here, but what else for carbs? Man, what the hell did I eat? What did I eat today? Oh, so look, a meal that is like one of my personal faves, like the bison mac and cheese. I love mac and cheese. Again, guys, a lot of you probably think you can't eat mac and cheese and like get fit. You're wrong if you think that. You can't eat like a huge plate
Yeah.
3 times a day that is flooded with a copious amount of cheese, like extra cheese,
Right.
and then you put half a bottle of ketchup on it, right? I mean, I put ketchup on my mac and cheese. I don't know if the listeners do. It's amazing, by the way. But like, it's just, again, like, be mindful, right? Don't put the amount of cheese that the instructions on the box or online. Again, you're being health conscious here, and you can get the same impact because psychologically, when you eat foods like that you have that association that are not good for you, it mentally satisfies you in such a way where it doesn't make your eating routine
It doesn't make you want to cheat.
and it doesn't make it feel like you're being restricted,
Right.
which is a big deal.
Yeah.
People tend to want to do things that they say they can't, that they're told that they can't,
Yeah.
right, by nature. Veggies, guys, green veggies, right? The green leafy veggies are always the superior form. Brussels sprouts are really good for you. Asparagus, green veggies.
Yeah, and the good thing about now is you can buy all these riced veggies. So
Yep.
like I get a combination of cauliflower, broccoli, and carrots all riced up. It's delicious.
Yeah.
You get
There's
all those
just so many
benefits.
things out there available, and like you just have to be resourceful. And
Yeah.
when you do it this way, and you go and you purchase properly, again, if you're doing this on your own, again, it is going to take some time. It will take some energy, but it is worth it. But I mean, like, there's a lot of things out there that you will probably be surprised if you have like a plan,
Yeah.
what you can get, and what you could, how much you'll pay for it, and what
Yes.
you can ultimately get out of that as far as the longevity, and how long you can make when you go buy groceries, how long you can make those groceries last if you go into it with a plan.
Agreed. There's one other thing about carbs that like people like Cato don't want to talk about so much is that whenever you put protein with it or fiber, it slows down the absorption into the bloodstream. So it's not as problematic as well. It goes in slower and doesn't create like insulin problems and weight gain. So
Yeah, another thing, guys, that you want to be taking in on a consistent basis is fruit.
yeah.
And again, there are some people out there that are uneducated, and they think, oh well, somebody told me fruit is bad because it has sugar.
Dude, I hear this all the time.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Apples are like sugar balls.
Right.
I would never eat a banana. It's like,
Yeah, and then I'm looking
me?
at the person. Then I look up.
Well, some of them are
head
actually
to
in good
toe.
shape, but I just
No, but
I don't buy into it.
But they don't get it. But they might not be healthy inside. To your point,
True.
earlier, like, again, guys, we're talking about eating to not just look our best, but to be our best, which means
Function.
feel, think, and act. And in order to do that, we have to be putting in the best shit in our body. And fruit has a lot of good shit in there. And again, I don't want to go into like the micronutrient thing of each thing, but fruit is prevalent in, antioxidant content. Okay. So as long as we're being mindful of the choices that we're making, as long as we're being mindful of portion sizes, you should be. I mean, I eat 2 servings of fruit a day. I will have 1 cup of berries, either strawberry, blueberry, or raspberry, and I will have either an apple or a banana, and not in the same meal, but in different meals. And again, like, you do get a little bit of sugar, which in that situation, it's sweet, so that's good. You get that mental gratification, but also you're getting a lot of quality nutrition that will essentially help you think at a higher level, and it'll protect your body from a lot of harmful shit. Maybe you can quickly elaborate on that.
I mean, so I'll sometimes eat a whole blender full of fruit for a shake before I even train. But agreed. And the thing is, it's so easy to get too. Like, you go to Costco and it's like all these, like, I don't know, 2-pound bags of organic blueberries and everything else. Like, you can get any kind of fruit you want is cut up and ready to go, and you can use that as ice in a blender instead of ice, and then get some nutrient value instead of.
Yeah, as long as you're being mindful of your portion size, guys. And again, a good rule of thumb: berries are typically the best source of the quality nutrition. There's a lot of stuff in berries. The darker the berry, the higher
I'm sorry. Let me cut you off
That's
real
okay.
quick. One of the things that when I talk about these people who are like don't eat fruit, they always talk about the glycemic index. And they bring that up. Look, it's really high. But if you look at another index called the glycemic load, it actually shows you the actual amount of sugar that's in something like a banana or a strawberry or an apple. And you look at that and it's actually pretty low. So fruits don't have a ton of sugar, and they're offset by all the fiber and everything that's involved with the fruit. It's like a perfect food.
Moreover, though, as long as you're eating well throughout your day, it's not a factor.
No.
I think that's kind of, the way
It's an asset.
a normal person eats. If they're on top of that, doing the fruit with the extra calories and sugar, then it could be problematic. But if you're eating consistently well, you're absolutely right. It is an asset. It is not a liability. No. But again, it's one of those things, you have to be eating consistently well, and you need to not just mindlessly snack on fruit all day and just, huge amounts and think that you're doing your body a service. Again, mindfulness of what you're eating, not just what you're eating, but how you're eating it, which moving to the next thing, this is an important one, portion control.
Yeah.
Couple things with this, guys. I'm not going to take too much time on here. Portion control is essential for you to get where you want to be, because you could eat all the healthy foods that I just described. You could literally have documented every single one, buy all that shit and eat it and actually get fat or fatter. Okay. Your portion control is essentially what dictates the results that you get, because although you need the healthy food to get the results, if you're taking in more calories throughout a 24-hour period than you're burning, it doesn't matter if the source is healthy, you will still accrue body fat. Now, you probably feel a lot better than if you're eating fast food and bullshit, but nevertheless, portion control is important, okay? You have to be mindful of the portions that you're putting in your body and making sure that they're in line with what you're looking to accomplish. This is another thing people overcomplicate, where they, think, well, how many calories and da-da-da. Dude, stop it. Stop that, okay? Stop overthinking it, because it just gives you more outs, more excuses to not take action.
You can feel it. It's like,
exactly.
You have a portion size, and then you wait for your stomach to growl a little, and then you're ready for your next meal. And everybody metabolizes things a little differently, but it's easy to
Well, and there's a lot of information out there that can give you a good starting point, right? You don't and there's people I need to go to it. I need to do. No, stop. Your portions should be essentially dictated based off of some preliminary research you've done, or some common sense you've deployed. Again, another suggestion, again, I would say you could order one time from our company. You don't even have to do that. If you go to our website, and you go to our programs pages, there's a couple different programs. One for that's geared specifically towards fat loss and getting shredded. The other one that's geared towards lean muscle enhancement. The macronutrient breakdown of each meal is on there, so which will give you a rough idea of the portion sizes for each. So again, there's just all kinds of different
a good meal prep company will have all those options available for people with different metabolism.
Right. So look at what your goal is, look at that information, and there's your starting point. Okay. Please stop thinking that you need to count calories, that you need to log calories. Guys, truth be told, I literally have never counted calories in my entire life. Not one fucking time. Not one. And I never will, because I understand that it is not needed. When you do and you act, you figure things out. Your body figures things out. And it's all about being consistent and, just prioritizing the items that we're about to talk about here, that we are talking about here in regard to eating the healthy foods, making sure you're eating proper portions. Now, the other side of proper portion control is making sure that every meal that you eat, regardless if that number is 3 or regardless if it's 6, I suggest 4. I eat 4 meals a day. For me, for my lifestyle, for my schedule, that's the simplest to keep up with, and it's not easy, but it sometimes it is harder than other days. But that is what I do. That has allowed me to, again, stay consistent, have it be sustainable, and also get great results. So,
and to show you how we're different, so I eat about 6. I always have 6, sometimes even 7. My metabolism is pretty fast.
It's really important, though, that you point out your schedule and your life is set up to whereas you have the liberty and luxury of being able to do that without most people that have to go to work every day. it's very difficult
Agreed.
for them to, you know what I'm saying? So that, and the other side is if you did in fact adjust your portions and ate like, broke that amount of calories into 4 meals, you would probably get the same results if you actually committed to it and did it consistently. That's what works for you. We need to make sure that we're setting our schedule and our program up to a way that, again, is not a fucking hassle, that doesn't put us in a situation we could potentially miss meals. Because even like on weekends and stuff, I mean, if somebody, like people at my company, they can eat all day while they're working.
Yeah.
I mean, they obviously can't eat while they're on the line, but they can choke down a meal because I want them to live the lifestyle. I know how important this is.
Yeah.
But in most jobs, you can't do that. So like,
true.
if you are fortunate and are in a situation that you can eat anytime, yeah, like you could, in theory, eat 6 times a day, but it doesn't have to be like that. That is another little bullet here that I had. That number, that's come from the bodybuilding community. That's where that number came from. People eat 6 meals a day. Guys, chances are you're not a bodybuilder, right? The reason bodybuilders tend to eat that much is, when dieting, okay, you're in a calorie deficit.
Yeah, they're taking stuff that helps them
Well,
metabolize.
you're in a calorie deficit. You're literally eating portion sizes that after you eat it, you're still fucking hungry. So like, you want to eat every few hours. Like you want to eat frequently throughout the day because you don't want to suffer. You don't want to feel, which you still do essentially. So we want to set things up in such a way where our portions are consistent throughout the day. So every meal is portioned with the same amount of food. That is super important, guys. That is going to condition, prime, and essentially optimize your metabolism to process, put to use what it needs, and burn off anything it doesn't, because you have trained your metabolism to understand, okay, I'm going to get another meal that has this amount of calories, / energy in 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever your, timing is, which we're going to get to here in a minute. So it knows that based off of experience, based off of what you've been, based off what you've conditioned it to understand, and it will legitimately put to effective use anything that it needs to serve, your body's functions, and it will burn off anything that it doesn't, which puts you in a strong position to facilitate fat loss.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So portion control, the next thing is meal timing, okay? Really fucking important. Extraordinarily underrated.
I agree. Because if you don't time your meals and you, let's say, don't eat for a while, what happens?
Yep.
You get starving and
Yep.
then your portions are like,
And you're fucked. And then
you go crazy.
Yeah. So before we get into that, let's talk about what I mean. What do I mean by meal timing? I mean that you have to decide what works best for you in regard to like meal frequency. So let's say that you take my advice and you are doing 4 meals per day. All right. It's simple, easy to keep up with, and it's not one of those things that is going to require you to have to be, running and eating a meal and annoying your coworkers and your boss every few hours. You have to figure out whatever works for you. So let's say it's 4 meals a day, right? You have to figure out the time that is going to be that you're going to be able to successfully keep up with in between each meal, because eating like, at 9 o'clock and then eating again at 12 and then waiting till 6 and then like, it doesn't work that way. Okay. No. We're trying to optimize our body's metabolism. We're trying to give it consistent fuel, consistent energy to where we can feel our best, which happens when we initiate quality nutrition into our body consistently, as opposed to being all over the fucking place where we're having spikes in energy and fatigue and all that. So for 4 meals a day, 3.5 to 4 hours in between meals is roughly where you want to be. Now, some of you guys, and again, I'm not saying there's 100 ways to skin a cat. That's the saying, right?
No.
Yeah. I wasn't sure. Just let that one out there. But there are all different kinds of schools of thought. I'm giving you the what I do, what's worked for me, what's worked for a lot of people that I know, people that I've worked with, tens of thousands of clients that have worked with nutrition solutions that have gotten awesome results. I get up in the morning and I will eat my first meal within an hour of waking up. Now, if I go and I do some some cardio or whatever, like obviously I'll do the cardio and then I'll eat after the cardio. If I'm doing weight training in the morning, obviously I'm going to eat before I go and weight train. All right. From that point on, I'm legitimately eating every 3.5 hours on the money, right? I set alarms on my phone, which you guys need to do because although I don't need alarms on my phone,
Yeah.
but it's just part of my life.
Sure.
But at some points sometimes I do need the alarms on the phone. And
But it's a good way to start because
Yeah.
that gets you in the habit.
you absolutely have to do it because this has to be the priority. This has to be the focus. And if you're changing a routine, if you're going from, just grazing throughout the day, eating a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then pigging out at night, and you're you want to give yourself the competitive edge and give yourself all the little accountability measures in place. And setting alarms on your phone is a very, very simple way to do that.
Sure.
So eating every 3.5 to 4 hours, as it were, understand that is important. Okay. Look at it. It's not optional, guys. That's what you have to do. You're eating every 3.5 to 4 hours. Again, if in fact, 4 meals a day is your number, you're having the same amount of food in each meal. Again, your food is portioned to your goals. Okay. Again, we've touched on it. The next thing, as it relates to what needs to be in place for you to have a successful, sustainable nutrition program is you need to incorporate variety. Talked about some of the different foods. There's a lot of different foods that I didn't talk about. Okay, guys, you legitimately can eat anything within reason.
Yeah.
Disclaimer. You have to enjoy what you're eating, but you also can't be an idiot and think that because you see some shredded, 24-year-old kid on Instagram with his fucking 8-pack oiled up and, eating a whole pizza with a box of donuts on the table next and saying oh, I'm doing if it fits your mac. Dude, that is not you. You are not that kid. You don't sit around all day and take selfies and just work out. Your shit is just different. And it doesn't it's not. And plus, and it's also an excuse. You would like to think that you could do that.
Right.
Trust me, I would too. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to sit here and act like I wouldn't want to do. If I could do that and feel good and look good, guys, I would own pizza companies and fucking normal donut. So, but being that we can't, I'm going to tell you guys, just don't think that you can. Don't worry about you see The Rock all the time. He's posting these monster cheat meals and cookies and all that. Guys, you're not The Rock. Yeah. This guy, he hires world-class nutritionists and trainers, puts a lot of time and money into getting massages for recovery, taking a lot of supplements, eating consistently good, and again, he trains very, very hard. Yeah. So don't worry about that. Now, I'm not saying you can't ever have a cheat meal, okay? And that's actually one of the tips, at the end of this. But understand that if you eat like shit all the time, that's not a cheat meal. That's you eating like shit all the time. So again, enjoy the foods that you're eating. Allow it to, make you feel mentally gratified. Change it up often and make sure that, you're not fitting or trying to fit things in that don't belong in there, like Pop-Tarts before your workout. Guys, you don't need that shit.
Yeah.
You don't need that shit. It pisses me off when I see influencers posts are talking about that because
I've seen it too. They're disturbing. They just don't get it.
It sets a horrible fucking example. And when you're putting foods like that in your body, man, it's like putting drugs in your body. It's your body eventually starts craving those drugs.
Yeah.
And it's hard to kind of just I can eat I'm just gonna eat 4 bites of ice cream. Right. Sure you are. Just stay away from it, man. Yeah. Stay away from it. And the beauty of that is all this bullshit food that you feel like you really like, if you do the things that we're talking about here, if you're eating a variety of healthy foods and, make sure you're eating every 3.5 hours, as it were, you're setting yourself up where you don't crave that stuff because you're eating in such a way where when you eat, you're not really eating till you get super full. And just like that, when your next meal comes, you're not actually waiting till you're starving. So by staying ahead of the game, by staying prepared, by staying proactive, and, again, by eating foods that you actually enjoy, your willingness, eagerness, and desire, should we call it, to eat the shit that is going to just really move you further away from your goals and make you feel like shit and a bloated pig after the fact, that's going to diminish.
Yeah. And if you're somebody who's spent a lot of time eating fast food and packaged foods, and you want to make a change and you start to, there will be a little bit of an adjustment phase, but it will be a couple weeks for your palate start to adjust and you start to appreciate the food that's good. But it will take a little bit.
But before that, though, they'll start feeling better immediately.
Should,
so it will offset.
Agreed.
So yes, it will be like.
But don't get like in the first week if things don't change, like don't freak out and you think like I can't eat this bland food. Like it'll change.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's be honest. Like, no matter how good you prepare a grilled chicken breast, green veggies, and like a side of rice, it doesn't have all the chemicals and harmful shit that literally takes years off of your fucking life, exacerbates disease, and really makes you feel like shit after the fact. That stuff tastes good though.
It does, and that's to say, you'll
that's
get to
the
a
mind
point.
fuck.
You'll get to a point where when you order something at a restaurant and it does have all this crap in it, you'll be like, "Oh God, it's disgusting."
And after the fact, your body will. And that's the thing now. Like when I go out and I eat like good or eat healthy, I order healthy items off the menu, and then after the fact, I'm like, God damn, they put so much shit. My body is conditioned now because of how I normally eat. And it's that really, again, it's like, be aware of what you sometimes perceive that you're going out and eating is healthy. Look, guys, if you're not getting the results you want, if you're not seeing the changes that you want to see, if you don't feel well after the fact, the shit ain't as healthy as you think. And those are all indicators of that. You have to be aware of that. When you're going out and you're, going to the like Chick-fil-A and thinking, oh, I got dude, look, it's Chick-fil-A, right? Like there's nobody in the history of time that's gotten in just has become the pinnacle of fitness and health by, operating on a daily regimen of Chick-fil-A.
Be a good show though. We should talk about that, like what to order, not Chick-fil-A, but like when you go out, what to look for. There's key items to look for and things to look for where you can order healthy anywhere if you understand.
On our website, I wrote an article about the healthiest fast foods.
Yeah, good.
But again, guys, stay away from fast foods. Like just a good rule of thumb, simple. Stop going through the drive-thrus, right? Like stop ordering. Like if it's like super convenient, stop doing it, because if not only is it not going to be the best for you, you're going to spend 3 times as much on that on average on that meal that is going to not make you feel good after the fact and essentially slow down your progress towards your goals. You're going to make that investment, which is a loss, immediate loss, then, pay 3 times as much than as you would if you actually bought a healthy meal or meal prepped or used a meal prep company. Yeah. So again, it just comes down to prioritization and just being prepared. And again, like, last thing here, we mentioned earlier, consistency. Guys, you got to eat healthy. You got to eat properly portioned meals that are healthy. You have to be mindful of your eating times to whereas your metabolism basically is turned into just a fat burning fucking death machine. I mean, that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? And we do that by consistently putting in quality fuel into our body that we enjoy. It makes us feel good. It makes us not feel like we're having to eat like foods that we don't want to eat and, give us negative association with the process. And we got to be consistent with all of those things. The last thing here before we go, I had done an Instagram story putting us out there that we're going to be doing this episode. And dude, I got hundreds of replies because I had asked, hey, if anybody would like any questions, specific questions as it relates to this topic answered, I was like, send me a DM. We'll answer it on the show. Got a lot of messages. A lot of the stuff was like organically covered, like in our outline. Yeah. But obviously we did have some questions here that we were going to answer and ask in a minute. But guys, just some useful tips. Just overall, we talked about a lot today, right? But, you have the information now, but if you're not mindful of like some of these things, it is going to be very difficult for you to just remember to do all these things. So we have to set our strategy up in a way that forces the result that we're after. And the result that we're after is consistency, because we know that if we do the things that have been discussed today consistently, we will look away and feel a way that we were not consciously aware we were capable of fucking feeling. So this is our number one priority. And when we make something a priority, there's certain things that we have to do to kind of back up that statement. One of the things that is actually the first thing on my useful tip list here is to always be prepared going into the day. All right. Never leave your house without your food. All right. You wouldn't show up like to a war or a gunfight and like hope someone's going to, hand you a weapon to do battle with. Right. Like you wouldn't do that. And that's what this is. Like that's what this is. We have to be prepared. We have to go into the situation that we're going into, setting our actions up in such a way where the result that we're after is just an organic byproduct of the effortless actions that we're taking, because we have set ourselves up for success.
Agreed.
So have your food with you, okay? I travel all the time. I bring my food with me. I either will have it shipped there, or sometimes if I don't have time to do that, I'll literally just put it in my suitcase with one of the cooler bags, put some ice packs in there, good to go.
Probably should have done that when I went to Cuba.
Yeah, well, and when I went to the Bahamas, I ended up staying an extra 5 days. So I ran out of all the food that I brought, and I literally went and talked to the kitchen, talked to the chef, and I said, hey, would you, if I gave you my specs, like how many ounces this and whatever, would you be able to make me the meals based off that? And they did it for me, no problem. So like, if you don't ask, like the answer will always be no. But again, like be prepared. Going on vacation, going out of town, it's like people think like, oh, well, I'm on vacation, I'm out of town, so that means dude, no. If you're going on vacation and you eat well normally, and then you go on vacation and you like stop eating good, or you rely specifically on like the restaurants and whatever, your vacation is going to be less good.
I agree.
Because you're not going to feel as good.
You don't feel as good.
You know what I mean? So like, it's a mindset. Again, when you make things a priority, it's a priority. It doesn't matter if you're on vacation. It doesn't matter if you're out of town. It doesn't fucking matter if it's a holiday. It doesn't matter if it's someone's birthday. Your goals are your goals 365 days a year, regardless of whatever external stimuli or variables may pop up. That stuff does not concern you. All right. So we're prepared. Because we're really smart people and we're not trying to purposely sabotage our own progress and goals, we're not going to keep junk food and bullshit readily available in our household.
If it's there, you're going to eat it.
Dude.
You can't buy it.
Brother.
And if you live with people who buy it, you gotta figure it out.
I feel I'm a pretty disciplined person. I'm disciplined enough to know I do not have the discipline to keep junk food in my fucking home, because I will 1000% eat it. Like, it tastes just as good to me as it does like someone who's, 60 pounds overweight, whatever. Like, get it away from you. Don't have it in your space. Don't have it in your environment. Stop. Again, like all these little things, people just don't think. It's like, if it's there, you're absolutely gonna. And then again, that also.
And if you live a household where people don't eat the way you want, and they're cooking up something, get the hell out of there. Leave. Because you will eat it. Yeah. Especially if you're hungry and it smells good.
Yep. And again, this is another random little tidbit here. If when you start a new diet, right? Like, understand. You might be a little hungry. Like, you might be a little hungry when you're adjusting, when you're transitioning into a new routine. Okay. Like, if you could just eat till your belly was comfortably full and, move forward to look and feel your best, that would be great. I mean, that would be great. And companies like mine would not exist. But the fact is, that is not the case. And because we are prioritizing our goals, the way we look, the way we feel, the way we perform, we don't give a fuck about the fact that, we're going to be a little hungry from time to time during an adjustment period, or like maybe we're not, we don't feel as mentally gratified because we don't have all the crazy endorphins that get released in our brain when we eat a massive slice of chocolate cake with, 6 scoops of fucking ice cream next to it. Like, understand that there is a transition, but if you remember why you're doing this, remember that, on the other end of the discipline, okay, the other end of the consistency is a new perspective.
Yeah,
it's a
the
new
goal,
life.
man.
It's a higher, more evolved version of you. Your entire life is going to be better. And it's just so important that, we keep that in mind.
Yeah, so what's the old saying? Like, if you want to go places you've never been, you have to do things you've never done. It's true. Right?
So another useful tip that I think a lot of people need to take on board is stop being a little bitch. Like, just stop. Like, this is hard.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is not easy. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be fucking hard. Okay? But the question you have to ask yourself is it harder to, be prepared to allocate the time towards meal prep to make sure you have what you need to live your best life? Is that harder than being in a situation where you're extremely overweight, unhealthy, sick, frustrated, depressed, negative all the time, pessimistic, and just overall dissatisfied with your quality of life? Because every morning when you wake up and you walk and you look in the mirror, you are physically fucking disgusted with what you see in your reflection, and that you take that with you the rest of the day. What is harder? Answer me that. I mean, what is harder, guys?
I couldn't live that way. I couldn't wake up every day and not feel good. Waking up and feeling good is the most valuable thing that you have. Without your health, you have nothing. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, without your health, you have nothing. You could have all the money in the world, but if you feel like shit every day, why is it worth it? I don't get it.
It's not. But
I don't think it is.
The issue is a lot of them just aren't consciously aware of what the other side tastes like. You know what I mean?
That might be true,
They
too.
got used to doing things a certain way. And then there are also a lot of people, though, like, who have lost some weight or have got healthy and got active in the gym and felt fucking great, and then, fell off, became complacent, and, they block it out. But when they're forced to think about it, if they're having a conversation or if they're hearing something like this, they're like, man, when I was that time when I was eating good, I felt good. And wow, it's weird because other good things started to happen before my, so like they get that perspective, which is why I'd like dive deep into some of these things, because guys, the last tip that's going to reel all this thing in, it's going to reel in everything that I've said to this point. I mean, it's been an hour and a half, and we could literally do another hour and a half on this. I mean, that's how important this is. If you want to make this happen, if you want to live your best life, you have to set a new standard. You have to make it unacceptable for you to be anything less than who and what it is that you want to fucking be. Okay? There is no compromise. There is no some of the time. There is no, okay, well, maybe. No. This is what it is. This is who I am. This is what I want to become. And I will do whatever it takes for as long as it fucking takes to make that happen. Don't worry about what's going on in society. Okay, don't worry about the fact that, unfortunately, it's become the norm. It's become the status quo for people to walk around and think it's okay being fat, out of shape, and unhealthy. It is not okay. It's not fucking okay, because the things that come with that, a shorter life expectancy, setting the next generation up with predisposed poor genetics.
Yeah, man. You get all these medications, they have side effects, you just get worse. It sucks.
Setting them up for a life filled with low self-esteem, confidence, and depression. Because, I mean, look, genetics play a huge fucking role. And not only that, when you bring a child into the world, they do what you do. They are a reflection and they model what you do. So it's like, it's a huge fucking problem. So like, if we want to sit here and pretend like it's okay because we don't want to hurt feelings, like, look, fuck that. I have no interest. And if this offends people, like I'm willing to do that, because I know that there's a lot of other people out there that need to hear this. You know what I mean? They may have made excuses, or they may really want to do it, but just haven't quite figured out a way to actually see it through. The way that you're going to be able to see it through is by setting a new standard and understanding that there are some standards that just cannot be compromised. And this, I don't know that statement applies with anything more so than it does with what we're discussing here. Because the decisions that you make with the food that you put in your mouth ultimately shape what your entire life looks like, present day in the future. And not only that, your kids, your loved one, you're like, there's so many excuses out there that we can use to take action. Instead, most people focus on the excuses to talk themselves out of something. I hear this all the time with just people I know. And, when I used to have a lot more direct contact with the clients with Nutrition Solutions, you hear about people getting married and falling off. I've never understood that because it's like, listen, when you took that oath, when you were up there, receiving your vows and the priest or whoever married you, like you made a commitment to this person, and that person married the individual that they were standing in front of, looking the fit, confident, like energetic, best version of you. They did not fall for, and they didn't agree to marry the fat, lethargic, out of shape fucking downgrade.
It's true.
So, I mean, it's not fair to that person. Understand that person, I'm sure they love you no matter what. But being that you guys are essentially in each other's lives and you guys will be there to support each other to the end of time, like that could go one of two ways. You guys could, ride off into the sunset, holding hands, whatever, like old and just happy and whatever. Or one of you could be sitting there on the side of someone's hospital bed as that person withers away from whatever preventable illness that they brought upon themselves via the decisions they made with the shit that they put in their mouth every fucking day.
It's true.
So recognize that it's not just about you. Although I feel that you should prioritize you and you should understand that self-respect and self-love begins with actually taking care of yourself and investing in yourself and valuing yourself. But if you can't get yourself there with that, well, think about the people who care about you. Think about the people that you're responsible for. Think about like any of the people around you, the kids, friends, family, loved ones, coworkers. Think about the impact and the example that you're setting for them.
I mean, especially if you have children. I know you mentioned it, but it's really true. I wrote about that a long time ago, and it's true. If you have children, they're emulating you.
Yeah.
They're affected by you and the choices you make. They want to be like you in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And you owe it to them to have a better life by making better choices. And we're specifically talking about food, but in other areas as well. But food is it's the oxygen mask, right?
And the thing is, man, that this is, with all of the things that, one could apply time, effort, initiative, passion, whatever into to accomplish success. I believe that fitness is probably the easiest thing that anybody can fucking do. Yeah. Literally anybody. Yeah. You don't need a special skill set, a special diploma, a certain level of experience, education. You just need to have the willingness to commit and just fucking go all in. And when you do that, not only do you move yourself forward and reach a higher level of physical and mental fitness, but you also position yourself to actually be far more effective in becoming successful with all of the other things in life as well. That's a fact. And that's one that most people aren't just taking into consideration. It's like, the benefits of this are fucking limitless, okay? This has to be something, I mean, look, I could literally keep going on with this. I just wish that people just understood, man. I wish there was better words that I could come up with to get people to just understand that it's actually so fucking, dude, it's so simple. The only reason people, like as a society, could view or perceive or talk about eating healthy all the time as being hard is because of the numbers of people who don't versus people who do. And that's just, it kind of muddies the waters and it perceives the process is being a lot more difficult than it really is.
Yeah.
It's a sheep herd mentality. That's all it is. People look at what everybody else is doing or not doing, and they base their opinion or belief, I should say, on that thing based off what they see or what they perceive, as opposed to just doing it themselves and being like, holy shit. First of all, that's not that difficult, and my life is just radically different. I just wish I had a better pitch for this to get people, because this is it, man. All the other shit that we've talked about on this this podcast, I think this will be the 13th episode. Obviously all of that stuff, it will change your life, will impact your life, will move your life forward 1000% if actioned. But it starts with this. It starts with taking care of yourself to where you're able to perform in such a way where you can actually be more effective and make more of an impact with all the things that we've discussed in previous episodes and all the things that we will talk about on future episodes. So, so Rick, I know we got a few questions from listeners, man. I'm sorry, I got a little off track there. It's just, fuck, man. I wish that there was a pill. I wish there was just a pill that we could just give to everybody that they could take that did all the things that we talked about for the last hour and a half. There's not one.
No,
there's not one. Okay. This is it. The shortcut that you guys are looking for. Okay. The goals that you want to reach, the person that you want to become is on the other end of what we discussed today. So I'm really, really hoping some of you guys got a lot out of this, and we'll put it to use, because I guarantee if you do, your entire fucking life, as well as the lives of the people closest to you, will change forever. Because look, there's a reason why people they're in groups, typically with other fit people. There's a reason you walk through my company, everybody here is in shape. And it's not it's not part of the screening process, right?
Right.
A lot of people come here not in shape, but they're in an atmosphere, they're around people, and that the mind kind of responds and reacts and takes action based off of their surroundings. So it's you not only have the opportunity to better your life, but you'll position yourself to better and bring up the quality of life of the people around you.
Agreed.
So what do we got? I know we got a few questions here.
Okay, I got one here from, let's see, @Amir_Lalonde. He says, "Hi, Chris. Would be cool if you could elaborate on carbs and fat loss. I am all confused about it. Are they good or bad? By the way, I'm a huge fan of yours. You inspire me so much in every aspect of my life. Keep it up."
Okay, so we touched upon that obviously a little bit here. Carbs aren't bad. You got to stop. You got to stop thinking that. You got to stop saying that. You got to stop asking people like me that question, because if you have not experienced something for yourself and you are basing your belief on said thing off of something you read or something you heard from someone you don't really respect, or recognize as an authority, or somebody that you want to be like, dude, that's that sheep mentality. Carbs are good, but it's just like anything. Too much of anything could be bad. So carbs are good. That's the association that you need to make. You just have to use them tactically. Use them strategically, use them to fuel your workouts, use them post-workout. And again, of course, just be mindful of your portion sizes. But carbs are fucking great, man.
That's it. I agree.
And what's the next thing here?
Let's see.
Yeah, what do we got?
We got @JakePuller35. He says, "Hey, man, big fan of your work. Was hoping that in this new podcast you could talk about if you can gain muscle and strength while losing body fat. Been to see a few different dietitians, and they keep saying I need to lose the fat first or gain the muscle first. I'm currently doing professional wrestling in Australia and definitely struggle with how my body looks. My debut is in 2 months, and I'd love to be heading in the right directions by that stage."
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for the question, Jake Puller 35. So, I think we touched on that a little bit, but the fact is, he said he's a wrestler, so he probably wants to look like, the prototypical image that comes to mind when you think pro wrestler, big, jacked, and shredded.
Right.
Look, first of all, you don't need to go see a dietitian. All right. Yeah. Save your time, save your money. And, look, just prioritize, man. What's the biggest priority? What is most important to you? Is it more important to lose body fat, or is it more important to bulk up and gain some size? Because they're not wrong when they say it is physically impossible to get peeled and like gain a bunch of mass at the same time. I mean, when you put on mass, okay, like substantial amounts of mass, you put on weight, and not all of that weight is going to be lean muscle. I mean, you can gain some lean muscle and just have it be muscle gain exclusively, but it's not profound. And it sounds like he wants to make some big time changes. So in my opinion, target fat loss. This is my opinion for everybody who's like if you're even like on the fence about which one, always go fat loss, because when you do, it's funny, like you not only build muscle and develop muscle, but the muscle that you have, when you lose fat in certain areas, you start to develop like proper proportions.
You look bigger.
You look bigger and you look fitter, despite the fact you may not even put on any muscle, but now you can actually see what you got working with. So
there's muscle under there.
Yeah, there is muscle under there for sure. I think we got one more.
All right. So it says, first goal was to lean down. Now I want to bulk up from the foundation I have. Please tell me what to do and I'll do it. No bullshit, no shortcuts. Thank you.
All right, one more time. Let me see this. First goal is to lean down. Now I want to bulk up from the foundation I have. Please tell me what to do and I'll do it. No bullshit, no shortcuts. Thanks. First goal was to lean down, so that would lead me to believe that you've done that. And now you want to bulk up. So bulk up. I mean, like, you have to eat a lot of fucking food. You have to eat literally. I mean, if you want to like truly bulk up and put on a lot of muscle, like I will make the argument that it is actually more difficult than when you go on a diet with a specific goal of losing fat, because you have to eat a lot. Like, it's a totally different animal when you eat and like you're still like a little hungry, you're not like completely full and adjusting. It's a total different animal when you're like uncomfortably fucking full and you still have to eat like more calories to facilitate like your goal, which is what happens when people want to bulk up. So you just have to decide if you're actually prepared to pay the price of admission to accomplish that goal. Eat a lot of fucking food. Keep it clean. Don't use the excuse, oh, I need these extra calories, then bring in like the burgers and the fucking pizza and the shit. And people fucking do that. And like, oh, I'm bulking. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. You just lack discipline. You lack discipline. And then it's convenient to say you're eating this shitty food because you're trying to bulk. The fact is, whether you're trying to lose weight, gain weight, you need to be fueling your body with the before mentioned foods that we have, so you can feel your best. Because it's not just about looking a certain way, it's about feeling your best. And it is very, very difficult to eat clean and eat like a lot of food. I mean, what again, I think everybody's maybe perception of when you say bulk up is different. But like, I'm like, when I hear that, I'm thinking somebody wants to put on like 20 to 30 pounds of muscle, or 20 to 30 pounds period. And then obviously shred it down, whatever they got after the fact. And that's a lot, man. I mean, that's a lot of fucking size to put on. So it's going to require you to eat early and often. It's going to require you to eat, in a way that you're probably not accustomed to eating. It's going to require you to have to learn to be comfortable, like not seeing as much definition in your abs and everywhere else. But again, if this is what you really want, then, you just have to get after it. You have to eat and not make excuses and understand that whatever discomfort, whatever, it's hard or whatever, like, embrace the fact that it's supposed to be hard and remember that this is what you signed up for. And then just do what you have to do to make it happen.
Eat to failure.
Eat to failure. Yeah, I mean, I don't recommend that, man. I don't recommend people like put on like it's better to do it like in like smaller like increments, because I could never, like, with what I know about, unless you're a bodybuilder and you have to do that, whatever. But like, dude, like I could never recommend to someone, it's like, all right, yeah, so you basically have to get fat for a little bit. Yeah. Like I just, because at that point, you're not only talking about like, we know they're going to have less confidence, less self-esteem, less, it's like, it's just a kind of a slippery slope there. But it's just like anything, man. You do what you have to do and you just make it fucking happen. You commit, you make it a priority, and then you do it. Just like anything else. So, this is the longest one we've done so far. Do you have anything you want to wrap
No,
up
man. Like everything we said was really on key and on point. The best thing you can do, the best investment you can make in life is eating clean, healthy food in the ways that we talked about, because it will change everything about you. And from that foundation, you can branch off into a lot of different directions, gain a lot of confidence, and forge out the life that you want for yourself.
with? It's true. And, the best thing that you can do is do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You guys have the information that you need right now. You have an abundance of resources that we discussed today, but just it's time to go, guys. It's time to to draw a line in the sand, start making this a priority, or just step things up. I mean, if you're, doing pretty good now, you're seeing results, figure out a way to do even better and get better results, because that's what we do here, guys. We constantly strive to get to the next level. All right. Because that, my friends, is how winning is done. Appreciate you guys tuning in today, and just overall the support. It's really, really awesome, guys. Keep the reviews coming in. Literally, I look at those probably once a week, and every time it makes me feel incredible. And I can't even right now, like I don't have the words sufficient to express my gratitude, guys. It means so much to me that you're getting value from the podcast. A lot of you guys are putting into use some of the things that we've talked about. You've shared with us the results that you're getting. And that's just, look, that's why we do this. So please keep the reviews coming. Please keep sharing your stories. Appreciate you guys shouting us out on social media. And we'll definitely look forward to dropping a new podcast and bringing some fire your way soon. Thanks for listening, guys.